Yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but anybody saying that they can tell you the truth is lying, because the truth is way more than something that can be put into a language, especially English. The truth is something far beyond possibly that could even fit into our mind. You know, it says in the Tao Te Ching, those who say don't know and those who know don't say. It says in the Tao Te Ching, those who say don't know and those who know don't say. It also says the Tao that can be explained. It's not the real Tao, which is to say that the truth that can be explained is not the real truth. So what's somebody supposed to do? It's not saying there's not people out there that can help you. It's not saying there's not people out there that could share with you ideas or concepts or philosophies or views or stories that is going to help you. I'm not saying that there's nothing worth sharing. And I'm not saying there's nothing to learn. And I'm not saying that these words can't be used to help us learn things that are very complicated. But what I am saying is nobody can tell you that. Nobody can give you a book and have you read it and, oh, you've figured it all out now. It was Guru Nanak from the Sikh tradition. He said, if I had 1,000 tongues in 1,000 years, I could never explain the divine. So often what people are actually selling you is just a way to try to help yourself feel good. It's just a way to try to answer some questions that you have that have been knocking at the door, to feed you those answers to those questions that you've been wondering. That's not to say there might not be some answers out there, but with every answered question is another question. I mean, if I tell you God is good, then the question is, well, how does he allow all this horrible stuff to happen? Those are the types of beliefs, those are the types of teachings that are just part of the reason that religion, spirituality hasn't been able to help the world find peace, has actually just created more distinctions, more division, more differences between people. It's because you're just creating things for people to argue about, for people to use to invalidate other people's experience, to invalidate people's suffering, to write people off when we don't agree with them. It's just like, you know, God's good. He's in control of everything. How the fuck did my friend end up with no hands and a horrible skin condition that debilitates him every day of his life? How the hell are there people being sold into human trafficking? How the hell are there fucking 4 million dogs getting euthanized in the United States every year? If God is all good, we really would need to redefine good then. One would ask, well, what is good? What does good mean then? I mean, if all these people are suffering and this God thing is supposedly in control of all of it, well, then they come up with another story. Well, no, that's Satan. That's the devil. And God, you see, he's not in control of the Satan. He is in control of everything, but he's not in control of Satan. And nobody's going to want to hear this. God and Satan are two sides of one coin. As long as you have God, you will have Satan. As long as you have a God that's all good, you will have these demons. trying to throw everything off. And so it's really hard because what are you going to sell somebody if you can't sell them all the solutions? How are you going to get somebody to follow you or subscribe to your YouTube channel if you can't tell them the answers to every question? Put it in a neat little package, write a book. You know, the other day I was reading about Deepak Chopra's 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. Man, that must be one of the dumbest books I have ever read. You know, he just talks about karma and life and abundance and thinking about things to get what you want. I mean, you would just think this guy has literally mastered the whole fucking universe. But as long as there's kids being raped and molested and human trafficked, who the fuck are you to pretend that you've mastered the whole universe? You're a piece of shit. You're worse than the person out there who doesn't claim to know anything, who doesn't even claim to be on a spiritual path, who just works and takes care of their family and accepts what comes to them. That's what pisses me off, is so many of these spiritual teachers, they're not actually teaching you anything about spirituality. They're teaching you coping mechanisms to deal with the difficulties we face in life. They're teaching you ways to keep your little bubble safe. They're teaching ways to keep all the negative feelings and all of people's sufferings away from you. And by and large, they're teaching you ways to invalidate people's suffering. Oh, no. Well, that's his fault. He didn't want to be happy. So, you know, oh, that's her fault. She didn't want to get out of the horrible marriage she was in. Or, you know, if they just wanted to get into better shape, they would. But, you know, if only it was that simple, then the world wouldn't be all fucked up like it is. But it's not that simple. But like I said, how are you going to sell people on that? How are you going to end up with your jumbo jet to fly around? How are you going to end up with all these people worshiping you, giving you money, wanting to suck your dick, when you tell them that you don't have anything to tell them? You have things to share with them. You have stories to share with them. You have experience to share with them. And you have suffering of life that we all go through to be compassionate about. What we need to focus on is compassion. What we need to focus on is being compassionate. That doesn't mean necessarily doing everything for everybody. Doesn't mean fixing everybody's problems for them. It just means being compassionate. It means just being open to say, hey, you're suffering. I can tell you're suffering. That sucks. I'm sorry about that. If there is a way to help you out, I will help you out. But that's just the problem is, come on, pups. People get overwhelmed by compassion. It's like almost thinking compassion is the same as fixing people's problems. It's not. Compassion may be the realization of, man, your problems are huge. I cannot fix them. I want to, but I can't. But let's just stop with this whole God is all good thing. I mean, let's just fucking stop. It's just such a fucking joke. Right here, I'm standing behind me is a park. This used to be the land that belonged to the Native Americans here. Right in front of me is a mission. California mission system was proliferated by a people who were convinced that they knew what God wanted. That God wanted them to get all of the savages to learn about God. And in that process, they killed almost an entire race of people. And not only that, they had no remorse. They felt like they're doing the right fucking thing. So ask anybody who's got it all figured out. Ask them about the kids in Africa they can't have fucking water to eat. Ask them about children being human trafficked. Ask them about people being still kept as slaves in this modern world. And they'll say, oh, well, that's their karma. No, that's you being an insensitive dick. That's you being an insensitive like karma. Hey there. To basically, why don't you just tell people, you know what? I don't give a fuck about those people. Their suffering doesn't matter to me. Why don't you just be a man and just tell it like it is? You don't care. Your feelings of happiness are more important than being in touch with the rest of the world. So often spirituality is just a way for people to insulate and isolate themselves from the entire world. From anything that causes them discomfort. They put up walls and walls and walls of belief and love and hugs and all these words and all these concepts and karma and, you know, Buddhism and, oh, you know, Lakshmi and all this shit. Just excuses. Humans are so crafty. Come on. They're so fucking tricky. They're so manipulative in some ways. Find me a religion created by a child, and that's the religion I'll follow. Find me a religion created by a dog, and I'll follow that religion till the day I die. But find me a religion created by a grown man. Even find me a religion made by a woman. Maybe a non-white woman. Maybe we'll have a chance of learning something. But all these men making up religions, making up rules, thinking that they mastered the universe. It's just a bunch of nonsense. It's not to say there's not truth in things that people say, but most often it's a package of lies and limited views tied together with some truth. You know, that's not to say people don't have great experiences and feel really good in these groups and in these churches. Of course they feel really good. People, when they go into a trance together, they feel good. People, when they practice spirituality together, they feel good. But don't mistake that feeling you have with all the words that come afterwards. I mean, that's what cracks me up, is people have a spiritual experience that's not really, doesn't have that many words involved when they're having the moment. And then afterwards they come up with all these words, all these definitions. So it's like I'm out here, they had just had this festival honoring the mission, honoring an institution of genocide. This whole weekend in Santa Barbara, they're having a party all about an institution of genocide. And isn't it funny, what do people do? They break eggs that are filled with trash, little pieces of paper. If we're lucky, pieces of paper. A lot of people have filled them with plastic. And isn't that funny? That's almost just what this is, just a big fucking egg filled with paper. An egg we've emptied out the inside and we've replaced it with paper. we've lost all the real meanings and the real teachings of Jesus, but we have the shell. And I don't know if you could get a concept of this, but it's what you're finding on the ground here is it's an eggshell that somebody painted, and they put confetti inside of it, and people go around smashing it on each other's heads. And it's fun. It's a game. It's a game that we do here in Santa Barbara on this particular holiday. But isn't that crazy that this is basically just a fucking eggshell filled with a bunch of fucking useless paper and trash. Look at all this trash everywhere. Look at this. This is craziness. It's filled with trash. People go around smashing them on people's heads. It's fun. That's all a lot of this shit is for people. It's just fun. It's just a way for somebody to have a little bit of fun, have a little bit of excitement while you're here on planet Earth. Try to go around and smash this Christian egg on people's heads. People that you know are going to say, oh great, you smashed my head with an egg, it's funny. People that don't know are going to say, you're an asshole. You smashed an egg on my head with trash in it. What the hell were you doing? You littered all over the park. What the fuck were you doing? But that's all, folks. I love you all dearly. Take care.